Stick with me, you're about to meet a kid with a deadly night job. When the popular kids are hanging out at school, Aragi Kai just walks right past them in silence. Even when Maido Shuji says hello, Kai doesn't bother pretending to be friendly or social. The girls start whispering that guys like him don't even deserve a simple greeting. To Kai, every interaction is a total drain. But as soon as he hits the classroom, the bully Arashi demands everyone show him respect. Our main character. Though well, he just doesn't care. Seeing this, Arashi gets furious and calls him out. He screams, asking Kai if he thinks he's too good to answer when people talk. Arashi tries to grab him, but the main character's reaction leaves him completely and utterly stunned. The bully yells to get his arm back, so Kai decides to just shut him up. One quick, painful squeeze on his wrist does the trick. When Arashi finally pulls away, he thinks twice about starting another fight. This kid is clearly not someone to mess with. He's shaken, but when a girl calls him noisy, he puts on his tough guy act. He's a jerk again, but then the disciplinary council leader, Merr, steps in. Merr has authority here. Watch closely as the bully finally sits down. Arashi sits, feet on the desk, oblivious to the truth about their quiet classmate. Kai isn't just tired, he's sleepy because he spends his nights working a forbidden job. While criminals might escape the police, they can never run from the main character's blade. That's his real world, but he has no intention of bringing those lethal skills into the classroom. Then everything changes. Suddenly, Kai senses something extremely strange and terrifying nearby. His instincts scream danger as a mysterious blue light erupts across the entire floor. Panic sets in as the light consumes them. In an instant, the entire class vanishes. They wake up inside a massive, ancient castle. Most of the students are out cold. Kai is the first on his feet, analyzing the stone walls and the massive pillars. He spots only one exit. Slowly, the rest of the class begins to wake up. You and I can see the panic starting, but thankfully Shuji steps in to lead. Kai is relieved someone else is taking charge. But then, Arashi stands up, acting tough again. He claims they're wasting time and orders his lackeys to follow him out. Kai immediately warns them that he can hear footsteps approaching from the other side. He senses two people getting closer. Right on cue, the heavy doors swing open. A young girl and an old man walk in, looking like they stepped straight out of a fantasy world, dressed in flowing robes and heavy, regal capes. The girl smiles and welcomes them, calling everyone here impressive candidates for being heroes. The class is stunned. Kai, ever the assassin, begins to analyze their true strength. The old man has the frame of a seasoned swordsman and is ready for combat. The girl seems pretty normal to Kai, but he notices her subtle hint of muscle. She introduces herself as Leonora, the High Archbishop of the Holy Country of Digarest. The man beside her is Gas, her personal knight. Arashi, of course, speaks up. He demands to know if this is a joke, since he's never heard of Digarest. Leonora keeps her cool and promises she's serious. Shuji steps in to smooth things. He explains they're all just confused after being snatched away. Finally, the girl starts explaining. She tells them they've been summoned to a world very different from Earth. They are humanity's final hope to take down a legendary and terrifying evil demon king. In short, they're the new hero candidates. For the class, this is clearly a trust me. You and I need to see Gas silence the bully. All right, you and I are watching Arashi face off with a saint without flinching. Gas pulls his blade, but Leonora stops him. Suddenly, Arashi lunges forward. Kai can't believe the boy's guts, but Arashi never stands a real chance. Gas is a blur. He swings his sword with terrifying speed and precision. A cut opens on Arashi's head before anyone blinks. Leonora apologizes immediately. She promises to explain everything if they can just stay quiet and listen. Her calm mask slips. Suddenly, her aura becomes heavy and absolutely terrifying. She reveals the truth. The Demon King's invasion has humanity facing extinction. The army of demons is winning. Everything is about to vanish forever. Digarest is still holding out, but their strength is reaching its absolute limit. They just do not have the strength left to stop the invasion. Kai, meanwhile, thought this entire story sounded like a typical Isekai'd cliché. Leonora tells them the scary part: they are humanity's very last hope. The students immediately panic. They are normal kids, not legendary heroes. Tears start falling. They have never even been in a real fight. He drops a bomb. There is no way for them to return back home unless they defeat the Demon King. Watch closely, everything just changed for them. The news leaves them stunned. Kai knows you cannot just turn kids into killers. They're stunned. Kai figures gas is just trying to light a fire under them. He knows kids from peaceful lives cannot just start killing like seasoned warriors. That needs talent. Meanwhile, Arashi stands up, blood still dripping from his head. He curses them for trying to boss the class around like their own toys. He hates people like them. Gas watches, impressed by the boy's unbreakable spirit. Arashi is unbroken. Gas wonders if this boy could be a useful warrior. He clutches his sword, deciding Arashi might just be way too much trouble. He decides to kill him, but before he can, Leonora is already there. She heals him. You and I both notice she knows too much about them. She explains her power, the system, a gift from the gods, much like magic. It works just like stories. Kai is suspicious of how much she knows. Her knowledge is strange. Kai wonders if she has summoned others before them. Walking towards Shuji, she explains the system power is why she summoned them. She raises her hands, and suddenly Shuji's wrist starts glowing with energy. Suddenly, a massive sword made of pure light appears in his shaking hand. She tells them they can all awaken their own unique divine protection powers. Leonora admits it's a selfish request, but they are stuck here anyway. Since they cannot leave, she asks them to lend her their great strength. Shuji points out that even with powers, they cannot just start fighting immediately. She promises they will be trained and cared for during the whole ordeal. Shuji takes charge. He knows they need protection and information to survive. He tells his classmates he knows they're scared, but they need to listen. For now, he says they should follow Leonora's lead, and everyone agrees. Seeing they are ready, Leonora begins granting their unique and divine powers. Leonora starts giving them powers, and Merr receives the gift of telekinesis. Arashi receives explosion powers, while Reena is granted the power of fire. Yoshia gets wind, while you and I watch the others gain unique gifts. All right, you and I are about to see Kai unlock some game-breaking skills. As soon as Leonora grants him power, Kai feels his vision shift. Suddenly, the world looks different. He can actually see Leonora's hidden stats. His eyes glow a deep crimson. Leonora reveals he unlocked a rare power. It was called Judgment. This ability allowed him to see anyone's true stats. Naturally, Kai tested it on himself, and his own strength data appeared. Arashi checked his own gift and immediately started talking trash to Kai. He joked that Kai only got a new eye color, but Kai noticed something. The other students were already acting like they owned the place. It's hilarious. They have no clue about this world. Their powers are only temporary loans. Kai stayed perfectly calm, though. He knew he had other ways to win. He had plenty of tricks up his sleeve, if you catch my drift. With everyone powered up, Leonora dismissed them for a night of rest. Now pay attention, because our main character is about to break some rules. He slipped out his window, ready to hunt for any secrets he could find. Outside, the castle guards were gossiping about how weak the candidates looked. They couldn't believe kids like this were expected to defeat the Demon King. One guard whispered that the saints must have a secret plan for them. Kai listened to the whole conversation. Then, he used his judgment power. The guy only knew basic swordsmanship. Kai quietly moved on for more answers. He realized the city was a fortress. The inner castle was totally sealed. Gates were locked and guards were everywhere. Kai decided not to force it. He would come back later. Meanwhile, out in the fields, Reena was scouting. She and her two sidekicks wanted to test their brand new elemental powers. They started summoning fire and water, watching the magic closely in the field. Reena was determined to understand exactly how this divine protection worked. Kai was hiding nearby, watching them, when something felt very wrong. The girls heard a rustle. Suddenly, a massive, lizard-like beast emerged. You and I both know that using magic in the wild attracts trouble. The creature was huge and hungry. Kai used his judgment power on it. What he saw made his heart sink. Its stats were absolutely terrifying. He used judgment to check the stats and was genuinely shocked. Its power was insane. The beast roared and chased after the girls. Kai realized that while it was strong, it only ran in straight lines. It wasn't very smart. Kai threw a knife and pierced its thick hide. Just then, Reena tripped. The monster was inches away from crushing her. But then it suddenly froze. A knife was buried deep in its head. The girls looked around, saw the blood, and decided to run for it. They didn't stick around to say thanks. Kai had no reason to help. His conscience wouldn't let him just watch. He realized something very important. If monsters like this were roaming around, things weren't going to be easy. He walked to the monster's body to grab his knife when he felt someone. Kai quickly ducked behind the massive corpse, peering around into the dark woods. He saw nothing at all. Still, he decided it was time to leave. And that's where we leave it, trust me, you'll want to see what's next. Stick with me, we are about to see a mysterious figure step out. Cloaked in a heavy robe, their face remained completely hidden in the shadows. This stranger suddenly crushed the beast's head, popping its eyes right out. They muttered about how weak and useless these new hero candidates were. But then they sensed Kai. He smelled exactly like those heroes did. The next morning, Gas arrived with a massive, terrifying surprise for everyone. The dead monster's corpse was laid out, leaving all the candidates speechless. Gas explained that the beast was found dead last night near the capital. The Demon King was driving these creatures mad, making them crave flesh. He warned the hero candidates they would be facing monsters just like this. Gas then asked the researcher, Steady, if he noticed anything strange here. Steady confirmed it. There were clear signs of dark sorcery involved. It was likely the work of a high-level demon, possibly mid-grade. He suspected these demons were just scouting the weak newcomers for now. Kai wondered if this sorcery was different from the magic he knew. It was a brand new term he had just heard the researchers using. Shuji spoke up, asking if a demon was actually controlling the beast. Steady explained that powerful demons use servitude spells on weaker monsters. Gas dragged the researcher away before he could finish his long lecture. Kai figured Steady would be the perfect source for gathering more intel. Kai realized Steady would be the perfect guy for gathering more vital intel. Then it clicked, those eyes he felt last night belonged to demons. That demon was incredibly skilled, since Kai barely even sensed their presence. Now pay attention, because Kai felt like they were still being watched. Suddenly, he felt eyes on him. Arashi told Gaia the hard truth. They could not go home until the demon was dead, and he hated it. He was not planning on rotting away in this fantasy world forever, obviously. The other students agreed. Kai knew they finally understood the high stakes. Right then, Leonora walked in and told everyone to keep their cool. They just had not learned to tap into their true power yet, that is all. A little training was all they needed to become the legends required. Being from another world meant their growth speed was completely off charts. A week passed in a flash with the students in hardcore training. Kai spent his time in the library, deep in the local books. Honestly, you and I have to wonder how he learned that language instantly. His judgment skill was not built for combat, so he skipped battle practice. At least he had full access to the archives while the others fought. Sadly, he could not find much info on history, culture, or the demons. The top 5 included wind user Narumi and Arashi with his explosive power. Kaki had telekinesis, Hashimoto used the land, and Reena commanded fire. But one student was evolving at a speed that was absolutely insane. Shuji was the one. He was becoming a monster in his own right. He quickly surpassed his own sword masters in both skill and speed. Kai used his judgment skill and saw Shuji's stats were already at B grade. This was a massive jump from last week. Let's see what happens next. All right, you and I are jumping into a story where the underdog is about to snap. These new powers were making everyone way too overconfident for their own good. One punk tried pushing Kai, but Kai smoothly flipped him right onto his back. Suddenly, Leonora and Gas arrived at the training grounds to interrupt them. Leonora announced everyone leveled up fast, so they were moving things along. Narumi asked about the Demon King, but Leonora just shook her head. They were only going to practice fighting weak monsters for now. The next day, everyone was led deep into a dark forest. Gas explained they were there for some real combat drills. This spot was packed with some seriously powerful and dangerous creatures. They couldn't just stick together as one big group. Everyone had to split into teams of 2 or 3. Everyone quickly grouped up, leaving Kai and Kanaki without a team. They had no choice but to pair up together today. Kaki seemed super proud and honestly didn't care much. Pay attention here, things are about to get a lot more competitive. The team with the most kills is going to get a special reward. As the drills started, Kaki bragged that her powers were better. She claimed her powers were better and she didn't need help. She just told him not to get in her way. Kai just agreed, making Kaki wonder if he had pride. Right then, Kai sensed 4 hidden creatures lurking nearby. Suddenly, a monster charged, and Kaki immediately activated her mysterious power. Domination let her force her will onto any target. She told the goblin to bow, and it obeyed. Kaki looked super tired as her mana drained away. Kai said finish it before more monsters arrive. Kaki hesitated since the monster looked too human. Kai reminded her it just tried to attack them. He brought her back to reality since it was still just a monster. You might think she is just a naive student, but watch this. He fiddled with a stone as she struggled. Suddenly, 3 more goblins appeared, and Kaki ordered them to bow. She ordered a bow and snapped at Kai to help instead of just standing. Kai reminded her she told him not to help. She commanded the goblins to twist their necks. They died instantly, leaving Kai shocked by her power. She explained that the tougher the command, the harder it was. The bodies grossed her out, but Kai stayed calm. She wondered how he stayed so calm without any powers. Kai said being calm was just his thing. He asked if she was scared and wanted to quit right now. Her pride flared as she shot him down. She was acting tough, but wasn't so bad. Stick with me, because Narumi is in serious trouble. All right, stick with me because you and I are watching them face this monster. They combined their wind and rock powers, slamming a massive boulder into the creature. But get this, it barely even phased the thing. Now they were completely stuck. Totally unsure what to do, Kaki started thinking of her home world. She missed her world and wanted to show her grandpa how strong she had finally become. Kai snapped her back to reality, asking if she still actually wanted to push forward. He warned her they could easily get lost in this place if they weren't careful. They started bickering again, leaving Kenzaki wondering why Kai was such a stubborn mystery man. While they were messing around, a sudden, booming noise echoed through the area. Kaki knew immediately it was Hashimoto. Kai asked what the plan was. Kaki says they have to help. Pay attention, because things are getting wild. Over there, the beast just tossed Hashimoto, leaving her broken and bleeding. She screamed for Narumi to run, but it was too late. The monster charged in. Kaki quickly used her powers, commanding the massive beast to stop moving. Narumi thanked her, but Kaki warned the creature was too strong to stay frozen long. Kai asked Narumi if Hashimoto was still alive. Narumi confirmed she was still breathing. But she was in bad shape. Kai told Narumi to grab her and leave. Narumi hesitated, but seeing Hashimoto's state, he knew he had no other choice. As they escaped, Kai used his powers to check out the monster's crazy high stats. He was shocked by its defense. Kai knew his normal attacks wouldn't even dent it. He realized it was some kind of mutant and wondered about its true origin. Kaki screamed that she couldn't hold the beast back anymore. Her power was fading fast. Kai told her she'd bought enough time and they needed to move out right now. She agreed, seeing the danger, but her legs suddenly refused to move an inch. She'd used up every drop of energy stopping that monster. This was looking bad. Now, you and I can see the situation has turned completely dire for them. Kai quickly pulled out a smoke grenade and popped it to create a screen. This gave him enough cover to grab Kenzaki and vanish into the nearby shadows. She asked where the smoke came from. Kai lied, saying he made it during training. He claims he made the grenade during training, but that's just a lie. Kai actually brought some of his own gear before being summoned to this world. Since his supplies were limited, he had to be smart and not use them carelessly. It was basic assassin gear. Kaki then apologized for insisting they jump into the fight. Kaki apologizes, realizing her insistence on helping just led to her needing a rescue. Kai cuts her off, telling her not to apologize but to thank him instead. Just like that, they start bickering again, while she thinks they should run away. Kai quickly disagrees with her plan. Just then, the rest of the squad arrives. Without a moment of hesitation, Shuji charges the massive bear to save his friends. Shuji moved like lightning, landing a strike that injured the monster's armored hand. Reena joined the fray, unleashing her fire powers. The flames didn't do massive damage, but they managed to slow the monster down. Everyone launched a coordinated attack together. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure was silently watching the entire battle from a distance. A seasoned assassin demon called Delphus watches them silently from the shadows. Delphus smirks, muttering that the armored monster stands absolutely zero chance. These heroes are growing fast. Trust me, you and I need to see this. You and I are about to watch Shuji stay incredibly cool under heavy pressure. This was just a simple scouting mission, but Deleuze wanted a total massacre. He intended to finish them all, but while he plotted, the team struck. Shuji and the others killed the monster, so the demon prepared to strike. But before he could move, a sharp dagger was pressed against his throat. It was Kai. Deleuze was stunned, wondering how he could possibly have been caught. Panicked, Deleuze couldn't fathom how Kai had moved behind him so damn fast. He desperately looked for an exit, but Kai was faster, slicing both his legs. Kai slammed him into the dirt and told him to keep his mouth shut. Watch Kai closely here. He is making sure the others don't notice this interrogation. Kai offered a deal, answer the questions, and maybe he'd let the demon live. Delphus wanted to resist, but Kai clearly held all the cards in this fight. He asked if Delphus was the one stalking him from the shadows recently. He knew they were being watched and used his friends as bait. His goal was to lure out the observer and get some answers. He needed intel since they were still newcomers to this dangerous world. Delphus refused to talk, so Kai slashed his hands to encourage him. Kai warned him that cooperating would be much easier for everyone involved. The demon swallowed a hidden poison and died instantly, leaving zero answers. You and I can see it now. The Demon King's army is dangerous. Suddenly, Kaki walked over, looking completely horrified at the sight of the corpse. Kai asked how long she'd watched, and she said since the demon hit the floor. Kai explained that this demon was an assassin sent from the enemy. He added that the beast they fought earlier was just a small pawn. Everything was a setup. Kaki started to feel a real sense of dread. She realized the Demon King was actively hunting down all the hero candidates. She asked how Kai noticed the killer when everyone else remained totally oblivious. Kai decided there was no reason to keep his dark secret any longer. He grew up as an assassin and can smell others in the trade. Kaki was absolutely floored by this shocking news regarding Kai's secret assassin past. He told her it was her choice to believe him, but requested silence. He didn't want the others finding the body while they were already shaken. She agreed, noticing for the first time that Kai actually cares about them. Kai brushed it off, saying they just aren't used to real-life combat. Hashimoto was in terrible shape, bleeding out on the cold dungeon floor. All the hero candidates gathered around her, hoping for some kind of miracle. A student named Hano stepped forward, using her divine magic to heal her. Everyone watched in total awe as the holy light began to close the wounds. Hano shared the relief. Hashimoto would be fully recovered in about an hour. The team started hyping up Shuji for taking down that massive beast earlier. Just then, Leonora and Gas strolled in like they didn't have a care. The candidates demanded to know why their teachers hadn't lifted a single finger. Gas calmly explained that he had been watching their every move from afar. He argued that they would never learn if he saved them every time. Trust me, you're going to want to see how this heated argument ends. All right, you and I are watching Gas explain that training always involves death. He argued that risking your life was just a natural part of these drills. This is real combat, he said, so they needed to stop their whining. But Shuji pushed back, demanding how a high-level armored monster even got here. Leonora chimed in, guessing the demon assassin lured it into their training zone. She knew those armored beasts shouldn't be wandering around this area at all. Little did they know, Kai already handled that assassin, but defenses were tightening. Gas and Leonora decided it was time to push these recruits even harder. Leonora wasn't playing around, insisting their training intensity needed a massive jump. She told them straight, keep being this weak, and you'll all end up dead. They would die. This terrified everyone, and Shuji tried to talk some sense. For her, power was the only survival. Arashi, however, was reaching his limit. He hated being bossed around and stepped up to challenge Leonora's authority directly. But Gaia blocked his path, reminding him that they were basically just pawns. They were just Leonora's pawns and had no right to disobey her commands. Watch closely here. Shuji quickly intervenes before things get completely out of hand. He knew they had to obey. Surprisingly, Gas was actually impressed by Shuji's composure. He told the candidates to relax, calling them precious assets for the nation. As long as they followed orders, they'd be safe, but Arashi wasn't satisfied. He suddenly attacked Gas with explosive force, but Gas dodged it effortlessly. One heavy blow later, Arashi was face down on the dirt, thoroughly humiliated. Gas gave one final warning: things were only going to get more brutal. As the leaders left, a bloody Arashi stood up, swearing he'd get revenge. The next day, a researcher named Steady took over the next training phase. After a quick recap of yesterday, Steady dropped a massive bombshell on them. They were heading to his secret facility to battle actual monsters face to face. The place was packed with experimental beasts he'd been breeding for his research. The drill began, forcing these hero candidates to fight for their lives again. Now pay attention, Gas spots something totally unexpected here. The group stayed calm despite the danger. Shuji tried to stop the madness. He told Steady these monsters were too strong, but the researcher didn't budge. Leonora's orders were clear, no mercy. He wasn't going to make it easy. Losing wasn't an option. Steady added that with their potential, they couldn't fail. He claimed their willpower was the key to surviving this hellish combat trial. Shuji doubted if will alone could save them from these biological nightmares. Steady explained that proper training would let them evolve and unlock new skills. Suddenly, Gas stepped in, telling Shuji he saw a hidden power within him. Using his judgment ability, he revealed Shuji's potential was about to explode. Shocked, Shuji asked for a test immediately. Steady was more than happy to watch. Steady was excited to see it happen and let Shuji unleash his power. With one clean strike, he sliced the monster's head and hand right off. Gas knew right then that Shuji could handle those armored monsters now. He wondered if his own judgment skills were growing. Then, Guy noticed something. Guy saw Arashi's new strength too, but decided to keep that intel a secret. And trust me, you and I just saw Arashi begin his dark revenge plan. All right, let's see if Arashi can actually find a way back home. Candidates back him up, eager to finally escape this strange place. Arashi asks Narumi to join their group for a better chance of success. Narumi hesitates but eventually agrees. The next day, training begins. Guy finds Shuji practicing intensely. Shuji still feels far too weak. Guy says Shuji is strong enough to beat most knights. But Shuji is not satisfied. He needs way more power than this. He must defeat Guys and protect everyone at any cost. Guy asks what he really thinks about Leonora and Gas. Shuji knows they are pawns in a larger game, but trusts them. Guy presses, asking if Shuji will risk it all against the Demon King. Shuji confirms his resolve. He will be the hero they need. He declares he'll be the one to fight and defeat the enemy. In exchange, he wants to negotiate safety for all his friends. Guy wonders if Leonora will allow it. Suddenly, the leaders arrive. Leonora puts Steady in charge of training while she is gone. Steady accepts the task, and the two leaders finally depart. Later, Gas questions if Leonora made the right call here. She calmly asks why. Gas tells her to stop messing around. He knows Arashi is plotting something, and Leonora senses it as well. Now watch this. It seems a rebellion is definitely brewing. Leonora is just curious to see what they will actually do. Gas worries about hero candidates with powers causing a disaster. But Leonora is unfazed. They can never hope to defeat her. She suggests a strict hierarchy to crush any potential revolt. Dismantle the threat entirely. Other suspicious activities, she ignores them. Later that night, Kai is out battling another monster. He takes it down exactly like he did on his first night. 13 seconds flat. Then, he uses his power to check his level. You and I saw that level up coming, but watch this. A tough new monster attacks. His blades cannot even scratch it. This is the perfect chance to test out his newest skill. His new power pinpoints the target's weak spot for a quick kill. He eliminates the beast in a flash. It is a decent skill for now. But Kai needs even more strength to survive in this dangerous world. More monsters keep attacking, but he defeats them all far too easily. He needs a real opponent to truly test his newest abilities. He spots Kaki and asks why she is out in the forest so late. She was looking for him because he was missing from the dorms. Kai tells her to leave immediately. The forest is too dangerous at night. He is totally used to night fights, but Kaki, not so much. She demands to know why he is even out here in the middle of the night. He is just testing out his new powers, but Kaki wants every single detail. He teases her until she finally admits she was actually worried about him. And that's where we leave it. Things are getting wild. All right, you and I are about to watch this whole story go up in flames. The dorm is an absolute inferno. They rush back, finding the others already in combat. Monsters are everywhere. Narumi is relieved they're back, explaining the chaos he just woke up to. He woke up to fire and beasts. Kai realizes this isn't an accident, it's an attack. A human is behind this, and the mastermind is close. Kai tells everyone to hunt them down. Find the one responsible. Just then, Steady appears on the rooftop, looking down at them. He says their hunch was spot on. Suddenly, Kai realizes how these monsters were even summoned. It finally clicks. Steady admits these creatures actually came straight from his own secret lab. He used special medicine to buff them up, because they were originally way too weak. Kai demands to know his goal. Why would he gain anything from killing these candidates? Steady explains it's a direct order from the higher-ups. He has a mission to finish. He was told to wipe everyone out, even if it meant throwing his career away. He smiles. Watch closely, because you and I are seeing a true monster revealed. He says he has to kill them all. Did Leonora order this? Steady quickly denies it. Of course not, that vixen wouldn't do this. This is the Demon King's command. He's actually a spy for the Demon King. Steady reveals his true colors to the group. If he succeeds, he gets a research gig there. Kai confronts him for falling so deep. Has he fallen so far into darkness that only his research on monsters matters anymore? Steady just replies that monsters are far beyond any human understanding. He commands his beasts to attack. Kaki uses her magic to stop the charge. But it's useless. They shatter her spell instantly and lunge straight for her. Kai leaps in to save her. Seeing Kai's hidden strength really gets Steady excited. He's amazed by Kai's power, as the main character keeps taking down more monsters. Kai wrecks nearly a dozen of them. Steady is furious. This wasn't the plan. Kai has weak powers, but trust me, he's about to flip the script. He checks Steady's stats and sees they're weak, but something else stands out immediately. Steady has domination powers just like Kaki, but his version is way stronger. That's why Kaki's spell failed. Steady is shaken and decides to use his trump card. He uses something he really didn't want to show. He warns Kai of what's coming. Kai doesn't want to waste a single second and jumps in to strike the villain. Suddenly, a massive red dragon appears, breathing absolute fire right in Kai's face. Steady's big secret is finally out. It's a giant dragon, and it's looking for blood. It starts hurling massive boulders their way. Kai yells for Narumi to move. Grab Kaki and get out of here. He warns that another attack is incoming. Kai uses his power again, pinpointing the dragon's only weak spot, its neck. He tries to strike, but he doesn't have enough raw power to land the hit. Suddenly, Arashi shows up and charges the beast. He starts bragging about his strength. But the dragon strikes right back. Kai tells Arashi they have to work together. They need to team up to win. Arashi asks why he'd ever need help. Kai explains he can find the weak points, but lacks the power to finish it. Arashi is too proud. He claims he doesn't need any help from some weak noob. There's no time to argue. The dragon lunges forward with another devastating attack. The fire blast finally makes Arashi realize he can't do this alone. He agrees. Kai points out the weak spot, a specific scale on the dragon's neck. Kai's the distraction, and trust me, you and I are about to see a miracle. You and I are jumping in, as Steady orders the dragon to kill them both. The beast lunges, but Kai distracts it, letting Arashi find his opening. Arashi strikes the weak point with precision, sending the dragon crashing down to the earth. Dragon down, Kai immediately taunts Steady, asking if he has any more pathetic tricks left. Steady acts tough, claiming he has more monsters, but he is in for a shock. Shuji and the others had already wiped out every single beast he had in reserve. Steady tries to run, but Narumi pins him down. Kai demands he spill everything now. Like a total coward, Steady folds instantly, ready to talk to save his own skin. But before he can speak, his body turns purple and he drops dead right there. Watch this, he was cursed to die the second he tried to reveal any secrets. Next morning, the group confronts Leonora the moment she returns for some real answers. She apologizes, saying she never expected such a weak tamer to cause this chaos. She admits she underestimated the tamer, but her casually knowing his identity, that is wild. Everyone is stunned that she knew he was a demon tamer from the very start. They demand to know why she would let an enemy agent get that close to them. Leonora just shrugs it off, reminding them she said this training was going to be brutal. Gas joins in, mocking them for not even noticing a fire right under their noses. With that lesson over, Leonora announces their next big destination, the massive royal capital. They're heading there for a public parade, where they'll be introduced as the world's stars. It's time for these hero candidates to finally step into the spotlight and meet the public. That evening, they set out for the capital, camping out in an open field once nightfall hits. Over dinner, Arashi tells his men those 30 soldiers aren't a real threat. He decides it is finally time to put their secret plan into action right now. Thinking they can easily crush the guards, he sends a man to fetch Narumi's group. But what he doesn't realize is that Kai is close by, overhearing every single word. Kai knows the soldiers are few, but he understands the real reason why. You and I should realize Leonora and Gas are the real power here. Kai pulls Shuji aside for a private chat before the situation gets out of hand. Arashi and Narumi meet deep in the forest, ready to launch their surprise attack. Just as they move, Shuji and the other candidates appear, completely blocking their path. Shuji reveals he knows all about the plan to assassinate Leonora and Gas tonight. Arashi is stunned. He can't understand how his secret plan got out so fast. The group tries to talk him down, hoping for a solution that doesn't involve murder. Arashi snaps back, mocking Shuji for being all talk and having zero actual vision. Shuji's plan: he will be the pawn, defeat the Demon King, and keep everyone safe. But Arashi isn't buying it for a second. He just wants Shuji out of his way. Neither side will back down. With no common ground left, a fight finally breaks out. Suddenly, 2 soldiers walk in, telling everyone to get some sleep for the early trip. Arashi storms off, totally fed up with what he calls their weak and pathetic mindset. He decides there is no point in talking to people who won't take action. The next day, the group finally arrives at the massive and crowded royal capital. The streets are packed for the ceremony, and the citizens are in awe of them. People are putting all their faith in these heroes. Inside the castle, a knight greets them. Holy Knight Ruse tells them to relax and enjoy the royal treatment for the night. Trust me, you and I know this royal comfort won't last very long. Stick with me, between the amazing food and deadly secrets, this capital is pure chaos. Guards are everywhere. Then Kai spots Ruse, the knight who showed them around. Ruse is bragging to his soldiers about how insane the candidates' power levels are. One soldier is worried that bringing the heroes here will only provoke the demons. He is right. Having hero candidates in the capital is like waving a red flag. But Ruse tells everyone to relax, claiming the candidates can handle any possible threat. Kai still has questions, so he heads into town to investigate for himself. That night, he hits up a local pub for some ale and quick snacks. The crowd is gossiping about the heroes, saying they look like totally ordinary kids. Kai notices people seem way more terrified of the church than of the nobles. Time to get answers. Pay attention, because this is where the mystery really deepens. Kai plays it cool, asking the bartender about the legendary Demon King threat. The man explains how the Demon King is relentlessly attacking the kingdom right now. Apparently, his power is so massive, he can even manipulate the minds of humans. Worse yet, his followers just leveled a noble estate only a few days ago. Kai thinks keeping the heroes in this capital is risky. It is a bad idea, and suddenly, Kaki tracks him down in the crowd. He explains he is just scouting for info since they are in unknown territory. She is super worried and insists on helping him out with everything. Kai tries to brush her off, but she is not taking no for an answer. He finally caves and tells her to dig up dirt on the capital. Kenzaki leaves to do her part, and Kai disappears into the dark shadows. But check this out, someone was listening to their whole conversation in the dark. A mysterious man smirks while watching Kaki walk off into the dark night. Kai returns to his room after a long, totally pointless search for answers. He did not find much, but he knows a new enemy is lurking nearby. Suddenly, noise erupts in the hall, and he finds the other candidates panicking. Kaki is missing. Nobody even realized Kai was gone since he is a loner. When they ask if he has seen her, he keeps his mouth shut and denies everything. Shuji confirms Kaki is not in the castle, and things are getting tense fast. With dawn coming, they split up to scour the city for any trace. Kai eventually finds her student ID discarded on a cold, dark street corner. The moment he grabs it, 4 masked thugs jump him from the shadows. Big mistake. Kai is a blur, dropping 3 of them in a single heartbeat. He mocks their amateur skills, demanding to know who is pulling the strings here. The last spy is frozen in terror, as Kai looms over him like death. Meanwhile, in a hidden hideout, we see Kaki tied up and under interrogation. She stays totally silent, even as they keep pushing her for secret answers. They keep pushing, desperate for intel on the hero candidates and their secret powers. They rip her shirt, but little do they know, Kai is already watching. Using his judgment skills, he quickly sees these guys are actually complete weaklings. He cannot believe Kaki even got caught by such pathetic, small-time losers. He cannot believe these losers caught her, so he kills them both instantly. Kaki feels beyond embarrassed to be seen by him in such a vulnerable state. He breaks her chains, and trust me, you and I need to see what is next. Stick with me, you and I are diving into this high-speed ambush. The night rain strikes instantly, but Kai and Kaki are way too fast. Rain smiles, he is determined to kill them both. He is no ordinary knight. He is actually a high-ranking general serving in the Demon King's army. Seeing traitors even in the capital, Kai realizes this whole country is finished. Using his special judgment, Kai sees that Rains is an absolute powerhouse. They clash again, and Kai dodges the blade, but Rains blasts fire. Kai barely manages to evade the surprise magical attack in time. Rains lights his sword on fire, claiming it is game over for Kai. Now pay attention here, this is where Kai pulls a gun and shoots him. Rains instantly drops dead. Kai honestly hated using his gun like this. He has limited ammo, so wasting it on guys like this is annoying. He realizes he must master close combat to survive in this crazy world. Kaki is totally stunned. Seeing her classmate carry a gun is terrifying. Kai just shrugs it off. For an assassin, this is just standard gear. She thanks him, and Kai asks why she did not use her powers. Kaki explains her powers are useless once her hands are bound in chains. Kaki admits her powers fail when her hands are bound in these chains. She mentions their class is the target, but Kai already knows the truth. He got the intel from the 4th cult member he captured earlier. That guy spilled everything. They are ordered to kill every single hero candidate. They were even using Kaki as bait to lure in the other students. I know what you are thinking. How did Kai survive that death curse? Unlike Steady, this proves it. A demon was not behind this specific assault. Instead, humans are the traitors. Morning comes when Shuji finally finds them. Relieved to see Kaki safe, Kai explains the truth about the human betrayal. They discuss the Demon King cult and how humans are also turning evil. The scary part is they cannot easily tell which humans are enemies. This new threat means everyone needs to be on high alert now. They decide not to tell Leonora, knowing she would just ignore their problem. The plan is simple: gather the other candidates and decide the next move. Suddenly, smoke fills the air as even more cult members surround them. Everyone braces for a fight as Kai scans for his targets. It is not just them. All the other hero candidate groups are cornered. Kai counts 6 enemies. Their stats are lower, but they are still dangerous. The men lunge, but Kaki uses her power to freeze them midair. Kai moves like a shadow, piercing their heads with knives for the kills. Shuji is visibly stressed. He cannot handle how easily they kill people. He tries to argue, but Kai shuts him down. These guys are enemies. Kai cuts him off immediately. These are enemies. Suddenly, another cultist appears, attacking Shuji, who keeps trying to reason with him. But the cultist simply declares he serves his master. Kaki goes to use her powers again, but Kai stops her. He wants Shuji to finish this. Shuji breaks the sword. He urges him to surrender to stay alive, but the cultist is relentless. Is stubborn, refusing to yield. You and I see Shuji take a nasty injury. All right, stick with me. You are about to see this battle get dark. Shuji wanted to leave him to die, but Kai insisted on killing him. Shuji hesitated for a moment, but eventually did exactly what Kai ordered him. Meanwhile, Arashi and his squad had already dealt with all of their attackers. Arashi showed no mercy, using his power to wipe out the final enemy. But Reena's group was struggling to kill humans, and the girls were hurting. Suddenly, Leonora appeared out of nowhere. She casually asked if she should give them all a passing grade today. Seeing her made the cultists angrier, but she calmly promised to help them. One man mocked her, asking how she could do anything without her knight. Leonora just smirked, calling them nothing more than amateurs tricked by the Demon King. She didn't even see those pathetic men as real enemies worth her time. All the men charged her at once, but Leonora simply activated her power. Her domination pinned them to the ground, and they couldn't move a muscle. Reena compared her to Kenzaki, but Leonora wasn't about to accept that. She snapped that her domination was superior in range and raw power. Reena asked why she even saved them, and Leonora just gave a smirk. She mentioned giving them a passing grade, and the survivors quickly thanked her. They thanked her, but one man grabbed her dress and started pleading. He begged her not to ignore them and to set them all free. Now watch closely, because this is where Leonora reveals her true nature. She used her domination on the candidates and ordered them to kill the men. Their bodies began moving on their own, forcing them to attack against their will. They were forced to execute those helpless men. That was Leonora's terrifying power. Kai and Kaki watched this entire horrifying display from a safe distance away. You saw that too, right? Kaki was absolutely stunned by that massive magic. Leonora's range and raw power were truly on a level they had never seen. 12 hours after the attack, the candidates gathered in the hall, looking defeated. Many were in terrible shape, and Narumi vowed that Leonora wouldn't get away. He couldn't forgive her for forcing the candidates to kill against their own will. Shuji blamed himself for being late, but Kai said it wouldn't have mattered. None of them were currently strong enough to resist Leonora's magic right now. Kai was certain that with the demon army's general finally out of commission, they wouldn't move for a while. Then Kai asked Kaki to follow him. She wondered why, and he explained he needed her help to counter Leonora. He needed someone with similar domination powers to help him figure it out. Then he made a shocking request. He asked Kaki to use her domination on him. Hearing this, Kaki got totally flustered, and her face turned bright red. The next day, after kicking out the cult, the kingdom threw a huge parade. It was a grand event to celebrate the victory of the hero candidates. This parade was proof that the candidates had truly shown their worth in battle. The citizens of the capital welcomed their new heroes with open arms. Once they gathered, Leonora told the group to return to the city of Alpha. Kai quickly reminded the others that Alpha was the first city they saw. And trust me, you and I know Leonora is hiding something big. All right, stick with me. You and I are about to see if Leonora is joining the group. She still has business to finish, so she leaves the candidates under the watchful eye of Gas. Reena mentions their home is gone, since the dorms were burned to the ground recently. One girl looks absolutely terrified, unable to even speak under Leonora's intense, crushing pressure. Leonora leaves with a cold smirk, leaving a trail of deep resentment among the trainees. Gas begins the journey, leading the group toward their next destination as the sun sets. That night, while camping, Arashi and the others sneak back into the dark forest again. Kaki checks with Kai, asking if they are actually going through with the plan tonight. Kai confirms that with Leonora gone, it's the perfect time to strike and finish Gas. He sees no reason to hold back now. He's just here to watch the chaos unfold. And trust me, this show is about to get very, very bloody. Meanwhile, Narumi lures Gas deep into the woods, claiming a massive monster is nearby. Gas falls for the lie, thinking a monster so close to the capital is a threat. Now pay attention. Here's where Arashi lunges from the shadows with a lethal sneak attack. Gas is caught off guard, taking a direct hit that sends blood spraying everywhere. Arashi admits that even his best shot wasn't enough to drop the old man instantly. But Gas barely has time to recover before he steps directly onto a hidden landmine. Boom, the explosion rocks the forest. Arashi just grins. It was a calculated trap designed specifically to take Gas down for good. Gas manages to shield himself with mana, but the damage is already quite severe. Gas stares him down, admitting he's disappointed Arashi would resort to such cowardly tactics. In an instant, the entire crew surrounds him, cutting off any hope of escape. Knowing he's in deep trouble, Gas fires a brilliant signal flare high into the sky. From the distance, Kaki and Kai watch the bright light illuminate the dark night. Kai just scoffs. It looks like Arashi's big plan is starting to get really messy. Now watch closely, because that distress signal brings soldiers rushing in to help the captain. But they never arrive. Kai blocks the path and ruthlessly slaughters every single one. Back at the fight, Gas is getting swamped by the relentless power of the trainees. He's struggling to survive against their combined strength, and it's starting to show. Suddenly, Gas loses an arm, his body completely drenched in his own crimson blood. Arashi actually sounds impressed, calling the old man tough for surviving this long. Narumi mocks him about the signal, thinking he's just desperately trying to buy time. But Gas just calmly replies that there's no need for reinforcements anymore. Right then, Leonora steps out with a casual smile, making the entire atmosphere shift. The candidates are frozen, stunned to see Leonora standing there. Elsewhere, Shuji and Reena spot Kaki using her domination powers on a group of soldiers. She claims she's just following orders, but nobody believes Kaki would ever be a subordinate. They know her too well. She isn't the type to take commands from anyone. Then Kai appears, declaring she is following his orders. Shuji is absolutely shocked to learn Kai was the one who killed the guards. Kai explains Arashi is busy with Gas, so he handled the light work himself. The truth finally hits Shuji. Everything that's been happening finally makes sense. Shuji asks Kai directly if he's officially teamed up with Arashi's crew. Kai just shrugs, saying he's simply doing whatever he feels like doing. And that's where we leave it. You and I know this fight is just getting started. Let's see how this massive showdown kicks off between our heroes and a literal goddess. Leonora tells Gas he is losing. Gas admits old age is a fight he cannot win. Arashi steps in, refusing to tuck his tail and run after coming this far. One candidate demands to know if she is the one pulling everyone's strings like puppets. Leonora explains that her mind control requires the perfect set of conditions to work properly. She points out that people with massive mana pools are much harder to resist. However, for anyone who always relies on raw power and cannot control their mana, They are easy prey. For her, taking over their minds is a total walk in the park. For any warrior who ignores mana control, she can take them over in a heartbeat. Arashi calls her a coward, challenging her to finally fight them all head-on. Pay attention now. The goddess finally stops playing games and gets serious for once. I am going to break your fangs, she vows as Arashi charges straight at her. Leonora is blindingly fast. She summons a massive boulder that sends him crashing into the distance. Next, she easily manipulates fire, water, and air to systematically crush the remaining candidates. Narumi dives in, grabbing Arashi and pulling him into the safety of the sky. Just then, Shuji arrives with more allies, telling Arashi to stop this pointless fighting. Shuji asks what he actually hopes to achieve by causing all this destruction and chaos. Arashi isn't listening. He tells Shuji to try stopping him by force if he is tough. He cannot stand Shuji's peaceful ways. Shuji then turns to the rest of them. He asks if they feel the same. Reena immediately steps forward in support. She supports Arashi. Meanwhile, Leonora just laughs at them for still bickering. I know what you're thinking. How can they win while still bickering like this? She points out they are starting a rebellion right in front of her. She asks if they think she will forgive them, even if they stop right now. Before anyone can speak, she summons a massive cyclone that tears through the entire group. Shuji tenses up, but Arashi tells him to chill out and focus on the battle. He explains that if Shuji wants to protect them, he has to commit 100%. Otherwise, they will all be wiped out. Shuji finally understands the life and death stakes here. There is no other choice left. He prepares for battle along with Reena and the rest. Leonora declares she will show them the massive gap between their power and her own. Not far from the scene, Kaki asks Kai what their next move should actually be. Kai says they should wait until she starts enslaving others with her powerful magic. Only then will he jump into the fight. Until then, they must trust the candidates. The candidates are fired up and ready to face the goddess with everything they have. Even Gas, feeling weak, crawls to his feet, still wanting to fight. He shouts that he still wants to fight for her, despite his broken state. Seeing his loyalty, Leonora heals all his wounds, making him stronger and faster than ever. A fresh wave of fear hits the group. They worked so hard just to corner him. Now he is back in top form. Reena reminds them their numbers have grown too. They can still handle this. Leonora confidently tells them they can attack whenever they please. She explains this entire battle was just a test to find true hero material. If they cannot beat her, then they definitely are not hero material. Soon the fight kicks off. Gas realizes how tough it is against Shuji. The fight kicks off, and Gas realizes how tough Shuji's magic sword really is. She blasts him with water, but you and I are about to see absolute chaos. Let's dive into the action, where Reena's defense barely saves an injured Shuji. The other candidates let loose on Leonora, but their skills don't even land. She is totally untouchable. Meanwhile, Kai remains lurking deep within the shadows. He scans Leonora with his judgment skill and finds something huge about her. Despite her insane magic power, her physical defense is actually her biggest weakness. One clean strike could end her, but Gauze is standing in the way. Arashi steps up, telling Shuji to focus on Leonora while he handles Gauze. Shuji faces a major problem, though. His magic can't even scratch the lady. After a teammate hands him a sword, Leonora flashes a predatory, confident smile. She taunts him, saying he finally looks ready for a serious battle at last. The others are useless against Leonora, since none of their abilities even work. They can't help Arashi either, as he's locked in a brutal melee brawl. Arashi holds his own against Gauze, whose stamina is low despite being healed. Since Arashi can't use his full explosive power yet, it's a perfectly even match. Leonora keeps raining down ranged spells, keeping Shuji from ever getting close enough. Now pay attention, because Shuji is desperately searching for any opening to strike. Leonora just smirks, impressed that he can actually dodge her relentless magical onslaught. She admits very few people in the entire nation possess his incredible reflexes. Still, the fight is totally one-sided. He just can't close the gap between them. With no help from his allies, Shuji charges forward at absolute full speed. He's cutting right through her wind magic, so she switches to earth and fire. He dodges everything, and she realizes he's subconsciously using magic as a shield. His growth rate is insane. For a second, she actually feels a flicker of fear. She still tosses him aside easily, though. Meanwhile, Arashi is in some serious trouble. His powers are completely drained, and he's got no plan left to beat Gauze. Gauze lands a quick strike across his stomach, making Arashi absolutely furious. He can't believe an old man is winning. As he falls, Gauze taunts him. He says this is Arashi's limit, but our guy isn't giving up that easily. He roars about his destiny and lands a massive punch that sends Gauze crashing. Arashi takes the win. Now, Shuji knows he's the only one left to finish this. His friend's fate is on the line. He stands up as a dark aura explodes. Leonora sees his grit, but stays calm, certain that he can't reach her. She is dead wrong. Suddenly, Shuji is standing right in front of her. You saw that too, right? He actually managed to draw blood from her hand. Before she can even process the shock, Shuji has already appeared behind her back. She uses water magic to blast him back, finally realizing he's gained instant movement. He flashes forward again, his blade an inch from her neck, but then she speaks. She commands him to kneel, and he instantly freezes. Leonora gives a wicked grin. She admits she didn't want to use this secret weapon, but he forced her. Gaia sees the trump card and shouts for Kaki to move as Leonora smirks. She never planned on using enslaving magic, but Shuji simply left her no choice. He lies at her feet like a statue while the other candidates rush in. She just orders them to stop, and they all freeze instantly in their tracks. She tells them they did well and that everyone is getting a passing grade. Stick with me, you and I are definitely going to see what's next. All right, you and I are about to watch a total power shift. Knights are replaceable. As long as she had control, nothing else mattered. Hope was vanishing fast. Without a way to fight back, they were done. Then Leonora dropped the truth. Summoning was just a way to create tools. If she couldn't control them, they were just dangerous threats to her power. Suddenly, knives fly from the shadows. She dodges them with chilling ease. She knew he was hiding, it is gas, and he is looking completely shocked. She actually noticed an ordinary guy. Leonora knew something was off. She'd been suspicious from the start, disappointed he'd show up for a losing fight. She commands him to stop. Just like that, gas falls under her dark spell. Watch closely now. A bullet suddenly slams into her shoulder out of nowhere. Leonora is reeling. How is he moving, let alone shooting under her spell? She was certain her magic had him locked down. It should be impossible. Before she can blink, he fires again. Another direct hit to her stomach. This weird weapon is confusing her. Guns simply don't exist in her world. Her defenses are useless. He calmly starts explaining what a gun actually is. Limited ammo means no wasting shots. He's only got a few bullets left. Leonora unleashes a blast, but only hits his robe. He's already vanished. A second later, he's behind her, cold metal pressed right against her head. He points out she's a terrible close-range fighter, but there's something more. Her enslaving magic didn't work. She's absolutely stunned and in total denial. This entire move was a massive gamble by Gas, and it paid off. Let's pause. You and I need to see how he actually pulled this off. Gas had Kaki use her domination skill on him the night before. Clever. The first skill cast always takes priority. It blocks any new magic coming in. Kaki's skill canceled Leonora's magic. Plus, candidates have a special divine protection. Their powers are naturally stronger than regular magic. That was the hidden key. Kaki had her doubts. Her skill felt way weaker than Leonora's massive power. Steady used a similar trick. Casting first let him regain control of his monsters. It was a high-stakes gamble for everyone, but they had zero other options. Leonora finally puts it together. This must be all thanks to Kenzaki's plan. She is right, Kai is protected. Now he declares that it's finally over. He prepares to pull the trigger, but instead of a shot, Leonora is captured. She's slapped in handcuffs, special ones that completely seal away her magic. Same ones used on Kenzaki. Now she's asking what he plans to do. His demand is simple: send every one of them back to their world. Do that and she is free, but Leonora claims that it is completely impossible. She only has summoning magic. Going back requires a totally different kind of spell. Kai can tell she's telling the truth. She really cannot return them home. So how were they supposed to leave after defeating the Demon King? Summoning takes massive energy. They have to rely on their god for that. Ultimately, the god was the one who summoned them in the first place. The god would send them back once the Demon King was finally dead. But Leonora doesn't sound confident. No candidate has ever actually made it back. Killed by the Demon King or vanished. Trust me, you and I are worried. All right, you and I are jumping back in as Kai prepares to finish her off. Shuji steps in, explaining he only helped because Leonora promised a way home. Since she cannot do it, he wants to keep his hero status and stay safe. He refuses to be a traitor, but Kai asks if they are not already traitors. Leonora tries to calm the tension, promising to act like nothing happened that crazy night. But Shuji cuts in, saying that killing a saintess is a crime they cannot survive. The other heroes side with Shuji, but Narumi stays completely loyal to Kai. Shuji admits that killing her might make sense, but asks what they do next. Kai seems to understand the point, but then he makes a totally shocking move. Now pay attention here, because he suddenly shoots Leonora right between the eyes. As her body hits the ground, Kai drops a smoke grenade and vanishes instantly. The other candidates are left screaming and furious about his sudden, brutal decision. Kaki realizes this was all part of the plan Kai told her about earlier. Their first goal was capture, but Kai always had a dark backup plan ready. He knew Shuji would eventually try to protect the saintess if they were stuck. So Kai planned to kill her and run, taking all the blame himself. He even left some guards alive so they would point fingers at him. He tells Kaki to blame everything on him and head back to the Empire. Kaki is not sure she can do it, but Kai insists she is capable. He even suggests she use her secret powers during the coming negotiations. When she asks where he will go, he just tells her not to worry. Meanwhile, in a dark castle, a minion reports his failure to the Demon King. The Demon King is not worried, knowing the heroes will fight him eventually. He says they will show up on the front lines no matter what happens. This whole game is getting interesting, and the Demon King is definitely enjoying it. 2 days after the incident, Kai is hiding out in the deep forest. He is near a city, about a half-day walk away from his position. I know what you're thinking. He cannot just walk in, so he waits. He needs money and spots a tavern that looks like a good place to start. Inside, the place is lively, and someone asks where he is traveling from. Kai spins a lie about being from a nearby town and looking for work. The man suggests he become an adventurer to earn some quick gold and rewards. He says he can pick up quests and get paid by the local guild. The man adds the guild is desperate and will not even ask for identification. Kai crashes at an inn, relieved that nobody has recognized his face yet. The next day, he heads to the town's guild to see the local scene. He checks out all the rough characters hanging around the lobby area. He goes to the reception counter to officially sign up as a new member. They ask for his name, his age, and exactly where he came from. Kai gives the fake name Siren and claims his home was destroyed by monsters. Siren was actually his old code name from his previous life of shadows. The receptionist explains the ranks and how the rewards work. Higher ranks mean much bigger rewards for the dangerous jobs they have to do. Since he is brand new, Aragi Kai is set up as an F-rank adventurer. And that is where we leave it, trust me, these 3 guys look like trouble. All right, you and I are about to watch a newbie silence some loud-mouthed bullies. Aragi Kai was not having it, just like when he was surrounded by adventurers telling him to quit. Aragi Kai turned his back on them, thanked them for the warning, and simply told them to leave him alone. This just made the guys angrier, thinking Aragi Kai was far too arrogant. Others in the guild started whispering as the bullies targeted a fresh face. One guy finally snapped and lunged, shouting that Aragi Kai needed a lesson. But out of nowhere, Aragi Kai effortlessly stopped the punch midair by grabbing him. The attacker froze in shock and immediately started screaming at him to let go. Aragi Kai calmly released the guy because he really did not want trouble. But pay attention here, this is where things go from 0 to 100. They all tried to rush him at once, but Aragi Kai dropped them fast. He casually walked out of the guild after leaving the bullies on the floor. As he left, he realized how weak these average adventurers were compared to heroes. It was actually pathetic, so he decided to finish his quest immediately. The scene shifts to the deep forest where Aragi Kai expected the kobolds. He scanned the area based on his quest info. Suddenly, he spotted some animal footprints pressed into the ground. He followed the trail deeper until he sensed he was being watched. Multiple dark presences were closing in on him. He sensed he was not alone. There were multiple presences around him now. These monsters were experts at staying hidden, making them hard to track. He was certain they were kobolds. Suddenly, one launched a sneak attack. It launched a sneak attack from behind, but Aragi Kai dodged it instantly. He noticed the kobold was wielding a human sword, which was very strange. You and I saw that. These monsters are actually cold-blooded killers. Another kobold sprang from the shadows, trying to gut him from behind. Aragi Kai dodged again, scooped up some dirt, and threw it in its face. With one kobold blinded, Aragi Kai delivered a brutal strike to the first one. As it hit the dirt, he snatched its sword and ended it right there. The second kobold watched in horror, but Aragi Kai was much faster. He closed the gap and dispatched the remaining monster with a simple knife. Aragi Kai used his judgment skill to scan the kobold's weak stats. Realizing they were 0 threat, he decided to hunt more for extra gold. He could easily hunt them for extra cash. A bit later, the scene shifts. Back at the guild, everyone was staring at Aragi Kai in absolute shock. He had brought a pile of kobold ears as proof of his kills to Mia. He asked if it was enough. She confirmed it and then asked him if he was really sure he did it all by himself. He said yes. He explained that hunting kobolds was actually the easy part of the job. The hard part was finding them. Aragi Kai knew his combat was top tier. But his scouting was weak. Everyone in the guild was left in shock. He returned so quickly, they could not believe how easy he made it. It looked too easy. They guessed he was a rank C hunter from elsewhere. But someone else jumped in, saying they heard Aragi Kai was just a newbie. Stick with me, we are about to find out how powerful he is. Stick with me here, we're about to see if Kai's hard work finally pays off. Later that night, Aragi Kai is out walking while counting his hard-earned money. He's shocked at the pay from hunting weak beasts. Survival is his top priority. To keep making cash, he decides to stick around and work as an adventurer. He figures guild connections will make gathering vital information a lot easier for him. Suddenly, a mysterious boy appears out of nowhere, standing right in his path. Kai looks the kid over and calmly asks if he needs anything from him. He notes that this kid feels much stronger than the thugs he fought earlier. The boy is Lyall, a B-rank adventurer and the local guild branch leader. Kai casually shrugs and just says, "So what?" Lyall asks if Kai's the one who caused trouble for his men that morning. Kai shoots back, explaining that those guys were the ones who started it. Lyall blows up, yelling at Kai not to lie about beating his crew. He heard some newbie took them down, but Kai doesn't back down at all. Kai just admits it. Lyall snaps, ready to teach him a painful lesson. Now pay attention. Lyall throws a barrage of strikes that Kai just ignores. Getting bored, Kai finally trips him and sends the guild leader tumbling down. Lyall hits the dirt, completely stunned and gasping out a confused what. Kai tells him his speed is great, but those big moves leave too many openings. Furious, Lyall tries to attack again, demanding to know what Kai just said. But Kai blocks him one more time and catches him in a firm grip. With a swift motion, he slams the B-rank adventurer back onto the ground. He explains that Lyall clearly isn't used to fighting other human beings. His usual quests against magic beasts didn't prepare him for a real martial artist. Lyall angrily asks why someone this strong would even bother attacking his crew. Kai repeats that it was a misunderstanding and offers to explain the truth. All right, let's pause here. The scene shifts back to the guild after their fight. Lyall officially apologizes to Kai, admitting that the entire situation was his own fault. He scolds his men for lying and punishes them for starting this whole mess. He shouts at his crew, demanding they offer a proper apology to Kai. The crew reluctantly mumbles their apologies after Lyall gives them a stern look. Kai tells them it's no big deal now that the truth is finally out there. He then mentions he has a question. Lyall promises to answer anything. The branch leader feels so bad he's willing to help in any way. Kai explains he's just a traveler who joined the guild to fund his long journey. But then he reveals there's actually a much bigger reason for joining. Lyall, curious about Kai's insane strength, asks what he's really searching for. Kai drops a bombshell. He wants to find a way to another world. The whole crew is frozen. They wonder if that's even a real possibility. One guy remembers rumors that hero candidates actually come from a different world. Kai confirms that's the goal. He's looking for a path into their world. Lyall figures this involves high-level magic, which isn't exactly their area of expertise. Kai knew this kind of information would be incredibly hard to track down. He was just hoping this group might have at least one lead. And trust me, you and I won't want to forget the sage Elbanacaret. All right, you and I are diving back in as Aragi Kai searches for clues. Lyall explains that Elbanacaret was a legendary elf whose wisdom saved their nation. Suddenly, the name clicks for Aragi. He remembers reading about a certain elven sage. Ancient books mentioned elves living deep in the heart of the forest. But elves are incredibly rare now, almost treated like myths from another age. They almost never leave their woods, so an elf who traveled was special. That's how he became a sage. Lyall adds that Elbanacaret is over 100 years old and famous for his insane amount of knowledge. He mentioned plus, the guy is a top-tier spellcaster who knows every type of magic imaginable. This gets Aragi thinking. Elves have that deep spirit connection that boosts their magic. Even if a hero travel spell doesn't exist, this sage might find a way. Suddenly, Lyall's buddy Raka jumps in. But pay attention here, things get skeptical. Is this old sage even alive? I've never actually seen proof of him. Nobody has seen him in years, right? Lyall just laughs it off honestly. He admits he's clueless on that part and apologizes for not having more details. Aragi tells him not to worry since the info was actually a massive help. It's getting dark, so he decides to head back to his inn for now. Lyall wonders what Aragi plans to do once he actually reaches that other world. Aragi just gives a mysterious smile and tells them to use their imaginations. They watch him leave, totally baffled. Fast forward 1 week to the Adventure Guild. Mia hands over the reward for his latest quest, once Aragi is finally outside. He realizes it's already been 7 days since he met Lyall and his crew. He's finally saved up some decent cash. Just then, Lyall and Raka appear. They ask if he's finished working and invite him to grab a few drinks. Aragi turns them down with a weirdly sad look on his face. Lyall calls him boring as they part ways, but watch what happens next. As he walks away, Aragi reveals he finally tracked down info on that sage. And I know what you're thinking, where is Elbanacaret hiding? Let's find out. He was the nation's advisor 10 years ago. Now he's near the western border. That's exactly where the battle against the Demon King's army is raging now. With this intel, Aragi decides there's no reason to stay in the city anymore. It's time to meet the sage. Meanwhile, we shift to Alpha, the holy city. The hero candidates are gathered for an urgent meeting about their next move. Captain Heinrich of the 8th Night Corps is currently addressing the group. It's been 1 month since he took over training these legendary hero candidates. He replaced the fallen saints. Now, Heinrich asks Mijiji for any honest feedback. Mijiji quickly denies having complaints, saying Heinrich is doing a fantastic job. Heinrich is pleased. He claims these candidates are vital to the kingdom. Because they are so important, he makes sure to treat them with respect. Hashimoto thanks him, but she can't help feeling he's nothing like Leonora. Something about this entire situation feels incredibly off to her right now. Heinrich shifts back to the point. Yesterday, a massive decision was finally made. He reveals that the higher-ups have officially decided to mobilize every candidate. Mijuji is shocked. Does this mean they're actually heading to the front lines? Heinrich confirms it. Trust me, you and I are about to see absolute war. All right, stick with me. Things are getting intense as Heinrich pulls out a map. He points out they are moving to a fort on the front lines. Mijuji nods. He understands, but starts to mention a promise before Heinrich cuts him off. He promises to keep his word and protect those not suited for battle. Mijuji thanks Heinrich, genuinely grateful for the reassurance. Then, Heinrich speaks again. He assigns them some tasks for now. Everyone needs to contribute, he explains. You have to earn your place. Mijuji agrees, knowing work is practical. Hashimoto Mari asks when they need to leave. Heinrich tells them it is urgent. They depart by tomorrow morning. He asks Mijuji to make sure everyone is ready. Later, while Mijuji and Hashimoto Mari walk back, she feels a sense of relief.